Alright guys, in this video, I am going to talk about the military pay if you are doing HPSP, the Health Profession Scholarship Program, and how is pay going to be like once you are a physician in the military. So I'm in the Army. I've been in the Army for many years now, since I was 19 is when I enlisted first, and then I commissioned as an engineer officer and so on. That's my story that I can talk about later. But in this Excel file, I'm going to explain exactly the finances of a HPSP student and as a physician. So one thing that I do want to talk about from the get-go is that you should never do military for the money. That is not the way to go about it. You should do military because you want to be in the military. The financing aspect of the military is one portion, but that is not the only thing that should attract you to do military service. So if you are doing military only because of the finances and only because they will pay for your medical school, I say you're in the wrong. Like, really ask yourself if you want to take that step. So without any further ado, let me just talk about the finances here. And also, this is just my analysis, this is my understanding, this is my research. I have spent a lot of time talking to people and doing my own research to make sure that this is accurate, not only for you guys, but also for me, because I wanted to know exactly what's happening. And this is what I came up with. So if there are any errors, I sincerely apologize, but this is what I have understood. All right. So the first thing, so this is year one. So in year one, this is your first year of medical school. All right. So the first year, you get a $20,000 bonus. So that is this signing bonus right here. Okay, you will not get this your second year or so on. It's only your first year. All right. So that's that. Then you get your monthly stipend, and I am saying that it is about $2,400 per month for 10 and a half months. Really, right now it is 2020. It is a little bit above 2,400, but let's assume that it is around 2,400. Next, you get paid 90 days worth of active duty pay. All right, and that is over the summer. And I'm assuming that you are a O1, a officer 1 rank, with less than 2 years of service. All right, and I'm also assuming that your BAH, your basic allowance for housing, is $2,000. That BAH is gonna depend on what location your school is in. So I'm assuming that your BAH is around $2,000. The BAS, your basic allowance for subsistence, that is $258, and that's a flat $258 for all officers. So that is my assumptions, and I came up with, when you add all that, I came up with $5,545 per month, assuming all these things, and also no dependents and no prior experience. So you will have less than 2 years of experience. So when you multiply 5,545 times 1.5 for the 90 days, you get 8,000 and some change here. All right. And just a quick reference, how did I get these numbers? The 5,545 and the 3,287. You go to DFAS, like you just Google DFAS military pay charts, and you'll see that it's all here. So O1, less than 2 years, your base pay is 3,287. All right, right here. If you are prior service, you might be O2 with over 6 years. So this is where, well, actually I'm here. I'm O1 now with over 8 years. All right. So that's that. So this is your base pay for those 90 days. Next, your school tuition. Again, this is going to vary depending on what school you go to. So I'm assuming that your school tuition is around 62 grand, because that's what my school costs. And then, so essentially your take-home pay for your first year is $53,000 and 518. $53,518. That's your take-home pay. But your total compensation for that year is $115,518. Okay? Because I'm saying that that money that the military paid to the school, that is also in a way your salary, because they're paying for you. So this is your total compensation for that year, and your take-home pay is this. Okay, so that's your first year. Now, the second year is very similar to the first year, except you don't have that $20,000 signing bonus. That's really the biggest subtraction here. So if you notice, your 90 days of summer pay is the same, or I'm sorry, your monthly stipend pay is the same, your 90 days of the summer pay is the same, your school tuition is the same, but your take home pay is much less because you don't have that $20,000, and your total compensation for that year is 95, and that's accounting for the school tuition. So by end of second year, your total compensation thus far has been 211,000 and some change. All right, and I use the same exact logic for the third year and the fourth year. All right, same exact math, and by the end of fourth year, military has invested $402,000 and some change in you, and that is accounting for the stipends, the signing bonus, the summer pay, and the school tuition, and all that. One thing that I am not accounting for here is all the reimbursements that you get for your books, your equipment, and like all that, your USMLE exam and whatnot. So most likely this will be higher, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. You could do that math for your own specific situation, but roughly it should be around $400,000 that military has spent in you by the end of medical school. All right. So now the big question is, how much do I get paid once I am a physician in the military? All right. So for this one, my assumptions is that you are doing general surgery, let's say. All right. You're doing general surgery, which is a 5-year residency. So again, my assumptions are now you're an O3 because now you're a doctor, you're a captain or a lieutenant in the Navy, you're O3 with less than 2 years of experience, and I am saying that your BAH is $2,640, and this BAH is what you will get if you do your residency at Walter Reed, which is in Washington, D.C. And then your BAS is the same thing. And I got this number by Googling what the zip code of Walter Reed is, and then you plug that in here, you just Google BAH calculator, and then you get the number. This number that you see, this for 04 is for a major. Okay, but if you do for 03, you'll get the 2640 number. Okay, so when you do all that, you get your monthly salary, your monthly pay, your LES pay. It's going to be $7,000 and some change. So when you multiply that by 12, you get $87,000 and some change. Now, one thing that you also get paid your first year is your intern pay, and that is $1,200 in addition to your $87,000. Okay, so your total take-home pay your first year as an intern, as a resident, is $88,000 and some change. That is your first year that you get out of military. Okay, and your total compensation by the end of your first year of residency is this number right here, about $490,000. Okay. Now, where did I get this number from? The 1,200. You have to go to the DFAS website, and they have a chart for medical corps incentive pay. This whole chart. Okay. And if you look at the top, your internship year, you get an additional $1,200 that first year, and it is prorated monthly. Okay? So that's your take-home pay, assuming all these things. Now, let's move on to your second year, PGY2, right here. So PGY2, you're still an O3 with less than 2 years of experience, so this number is the same, but now you don't have intern pay anymore. Instead, you have resident pay, and that is $8,000. And I got that from here, initial residency. Okay? So your take-home pay for your second year of residency is $95,000 and some change. And now your third year, now your years in active duty in service has increased. So now you're no longer less than 2 years. Now you're over 2 years. So now your base pay is going to increase. So now you're O3 with over 2 years of experience. Okay? So your base pay is now 4,968. So O3 right here with over 2 years. So you do that times 12, and also accounting for the BAH and the BAS, and you get $94,000 and some change. And you add your resident pay, which is $8,000. So you're making about $102,000 in your third year of residency. Now, as a fourth year of residency, now you're over 3 years of service. So over 3, you're still O3. Now your base pay is this, $5,000 and some change. And you same thing, you add the BAH, you add the BAS, and you multiply that by 12, and you get this number. You add 8,000. Fourth year residency, that's your take-home pay, $107,000 and some change. Next, your fifth year, you do the same exact methodology of calculation, and your take-home pay is $112,000, almost $113,000, with over 4 years of experience. All right, and I'm assuming that you're still a captain at this point. So again, my assumptions are that you are an O3 with less than 2 years of service when you start residency, and that you are doing your residency at Walter Reed in Washington, D.C., and you have no dependents, which means that you're not married and you have no kids. So assuming all of that, this is what I got in terms of my numbers, right? So you can play around with this and adjust it to your situation where you are doing your residency, if you have prior service, and all that, right? And what kind of residency you're also doing. So by the end of residency, Gen Surge residency, the military has spent in you an approximate $900,000 and some change. All right. Now, after you're done with residency, now you are a full attending physician. And for my example, you are a full attending general surgeon. All right, you are just a general surgeon, no fellowship yet. So now I'm assuming that you are a major with over 4 years of service. Your BAH is going to increase because now you're a major to $2,877. Your BAS is going to be the same. I'm assuming no dependents, and that you're still in Washington, D.C. at Walter Reed. So now your monthly LES pay, which includes your base, BH, and BAS, is $9,000 and some change, times by 12, and you get $112,000. Okay? But one additional thing that the military pays is the specialty incentive pay. All right? And you get this number by going to this MedCorps incentive pay chart, and you go down to whatever specialty you're doing. And if you notice, this column, this first column right here, this only paid post-resident or a fellow. Okay? So you only make this additional money per year once you're done with residency and now you are an attending. All right? So if you're doing general surgery, which I use for my example, you get paid an additional $52,000 on top of your regular salary. Okay? And then you'll also get an additional $6,000 in board certification pay. So your total pay, your total take-home pay, that first year as an attending is this number right here, about $170K. All right. And then, obviously, as you move forward in your active duty service, you get more years of service, you rank up, this number only goes up. And also this is variable because depending on the location, your BAH is going to change. So if you are in Hawaii, your pay might be much higher than what you may get paid in the Midwest because your BAH is much lower. So you kind of have to work that in to your calculation. One thing that I want to talk about very quickly is, just want to reiterate that this first column right here, that is as an attending. And even though you are, after your residency, you have your obligation, right? Which you incurred because of your HPSP, you still get paid this money, this first column. So if you did a Gen Surg residency, you owe 5 years to the military. And the entire 5 years as an attending post-residency, you're getting paid this amount from example. Now, what is these columns talking about, these last four? Now, once you're done with your 5 years as an attending, once you have completed your obligation, now if you sign an additional contract of 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, whatever, in that specialty, they'll give you additional money because now you sign an obligation, like you sign an additional obligation. So let's say you are done with your attending 5 years, you're done with your obligation, and now you want to get out. You can because you have done your part of the contract. But if you sign, let's say, a 6-year contract, okay, then they'll pay you $75,000 per year for the next 6 years, in addition to getting paid this money. So you get this incentive pay, you get this pay, and you get your base pay, your board certification pay, and all that. So really, you end up almost making, so $170,000 plus 75, almost $250K, right? And just so you know, like, this whole time you're also ranking up because, this whole time you're also ranking up, and you're also getting more years of service, so that pay is also increasing. So just wanted to put that out there because there is a lot of confusion about military pay and how it works for a physician, and this is what I have found out for myself, and I just figured I would share this with whoever else needs this to be explained. So as you can see, the military does try to close that gap the best they can. They obviously cannot match exactly what you would make in the civilian sector, but they do try to give you as many incentives as they can with all that. All right. So before I end this video, just one thing that I want to show you is this. So, and like what I'm trying to show here is that by the end of residency, right, the military has spent in you about $907,000, according to my example. And I'm assuming that as an attending first year, you're making about 170K, which you saw with my calculation. This is the military side on the left side, right? X is the number of years. Equals, and on the right side of this equation is what the civilians are going through. So a normal civilian physician in their first year of attending, they have about $450,000 of debt. And I got to this number assuming that they're taking out loans for about $100,000 per year in medical school, which is being accrued the entire time in medical school and also in residency. So I just approximated that it's around 450. It could be way more than that. So this is a negative number because that's a debt. Plus 350K. And I got this number because I'm assuming that they're making about $70,000 in residency per year for the next 5 years if they do Gen Surge residency. But now their pay as an attending is way higher. So I'm assuming that they're making about $300,000 as a general surgeon attending. So this is my equation, okay? And I'm trying to find out how many years a civilian doctor has to be a doctor for to equal out, to even out what the military total financial compensation is, okay? And my answer to that was about 7 years, almost 8 years, okay? So this is the way it needs to be thought out, that yes, a attending civilian makes more than the military civilian, or a attending civilian makes more than the military attending. But look at the bigger picture, as in, what is the total financial compensation starting year one in medical school? And also you have to account for the fact that in residency, in military, you're making way more, sometimes double, than what your civilian counterparts are making, okay? So this $907,000, that's accounting for all the pay, including the residency pay, right? $170,000, that's the attending pay of a military attending. And this is the equation that I came up with. So it takes a civilian attending almost 8 years to even out. So this is the analysis that I have done. Hopefully this helps you out. And if there are any errors, I am sorry. I tried to make this as accurate as I could. Oh yeah, just one more thing. One thing that I'm not accounting for is the investing opportunities that you will have, because you're getting paid this entire time in medical school, and even more than that in residency. So your total financial situation could be way better, more valuable as a military, in the military medicine. So just wanted to make this video. Hopefully this helps you out. If you have any questions, or if you see something flagrantly wrong with this, please let me know. And yeah, and I'll also post this Excel file to in the description block below. So, all right, thank you.